Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Okay, Kathleen Kennedy opened her mouth again, so we're going to talk about it.
That was a weird intro, but okay.
She describes the new Jedi Order era and made a comment about when they're going to be releasing films.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
A release date that they won't hit. Got it.
Don't even. She says kind of that Lucasfilm's going to develop projects at their own pace. Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, they have been doing that, haven't they?
Yeah, they're going to develop projects at their own pace, release them when they're ready, instead of rushing to fit shareholder-friendly deadlines announced years in advance.
Oh, like what happened to Solo,
What's
supposedly.
Interesting is it sounds like she can't make any deadlines. And it's also interesting that she says this only days after the start of the Writers Guild of America's strike.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe trying to brace people for deadlines are going to be harder to meet if the writer's strike doesn't end soon and we don't have people writing projects.
It's kind of hard to film things that aren't written.
We did talk about in a past video how writing scripts for these movies could very well be affected if writers are still on strike. It'll push back dates.
Yeah.
And then she's saying, well, why would we want to rush things then?
Why would you want to rush things when you've had so many issues with fans and...
Maybe learn from your mistakes?
What an idea. She is sounding a little like Gandalf, though. The films will come out precisely when they mean to.
Or not. Alright, but Kennedy did kind of indicate the time period after the end of the First Order in the Sith will be anything but peaceful, because the fate of the Jedi is uncertain.
The Sith?
Well, yeah, she defeated all the Sith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As all the Jedi.
She said,
with all their power.
what we're experiencing is the evolution of the Jedi. We're going very far back, we're looking at the present, and we're moving 15 years after to the rise of Skywalker. The First Order has fallen, the Jedi are in chaos. There's even a question of how many exist anymore, and Rey's building the new Jedi Order based on text she was given and that Luke imparted on her.
It's all connected.
It's all
They're going to go back to
connected.
those first Jedi and set up the new Jedi Order as Disney sees fit.
It'll mirror whatever they think the beginnings of the Jedi Order look like.
Exactly.
Right.
It's good. Like, I'm telling you.
I know.
They're going to redefine Jedi.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
We shall see. And then she also was kind of comparing the release strategy for the upcoming Star Wars movies to the Bond film franchise. Yeah, she said,
What?
I've often brought up Bond. That's every 3 or 4 years, and there wasn't this pressure to feel like you had to have a movie every year. I feel like that was very important to Star Wars. We have to eventize this.
Is she making up words now?
Yes, it's much better to tell the truth that we're going to make these movies when they're ready to be made and release them
Gandalf.
when they're ready to be released.
Gandalf.
Yes, Gandalf. Like, this information comes out of the Empire magazine that's going to actually be arriving on May 11th. So there might be some more information coming out soon.
So she's basically saying, like, we're going to make movies.
Yep.
It's been a little while. We know that.
Yep.
And they'll come out when they're ready.
Which is good. I'd
In a
rather
way,
have
yeah.
them say, I'm going to come out with a film when it's actually ready than we rushed this because we set a deadline.
Yeah. Sometimes deadlines are, to
They're
have
both
some kind of
pros and cons.
rough estimate, right?
Right.
I mean, I think this is good news, bad news sort of thing. I mean, I understand what she's saying, that they don't want to have like this. You don't want the Marvel thing where you're putting the timeline up there and you got 6 movies coming in the next 2 years. I mean, it works for Marvel-ish. Maybe
But
it
at the
used
same
to.
time,
so
Marvel's
much,
not
but-
afraid to go, yeah, we're pushing that back.
No, they're not. But my point is, what she's trying to say, I think, is they want to just, okay, a movie's going to come out when it's ready. We're not going to have like this, again, this big grandiose timeline. The films are going to come out when they're ready, and they're going to make sense in the context of that or something. I don't know.
Also in that Empire magazine, they talked a little with Tony Gilroy about Andor Season 2, that the final 3 episodes will cover the 3 days before Rogue One.
Interesting.
Right, we knew that we were going to lead right into it, so the last 3 episodes are going to cover those last 3 days. I don't know if it's going to be 1 day per or what, but we're going to go right into Rogue One. It's going to be exciting.
I didn't know that they were literally going to go
No,
right
he
into
literally
Rogue One.
said he wanted to do that. He had literally said, when you fire up Rogue One, it's going to be just like watching that last episode of Andor. You're going to see him, like, go meet his contact.
That's
and we'll be like,
cool.
oh, well, we pick right up. Well, it's just like watching A New Hope now. Literally picks up right at the end of
It
Rogue
does.
One.
Yeah.
I kind of like
one
that.
long
It's
connected story.
interesting. We know that every few episodes are going to skip a year because they're covering a lot of time in the season. But Gilroy also says, "Look, man, I'm not trying to make a career here. If anything, I'm on the downhill side of a long career. But this is an opportunity. This is 1,500 pages of the most dynamic material in these people's lives to deal with. We got it right the first time, and you don't want to let your foot off the gas."
He can make a career out of this in the back half of his
He's
life.
had a long career. Maybe he's saying...
No, I know what he's saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. Like, hey, if you want to go out with a bang, just go up doing Star Wars for the next 10, 15 years.
We know the fate of Cassian Andor. We know where Mon Mothma kind of ends up. But he built a whole other cast of characters whose futures we don't know.
Yeah, that's what's exciting about it. If he had just focused entirely on Cassian, I don't know if it would be that exciting right now.
Denise Go, who plays Dedra Maro, is powering up in Season 2. Tony apparently has said, "full Dedra." I'm like, that's kind of interesting. We've also got, of course, the diehard revolutionary, Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen Rael, who will, of course, he's got to run into growing pains. This is a different type of situation for him.
Does Luthen get out of Season 2 alive? I don't think so.
I don't know. Gilroy says, "Some of its core ingredients are secrecy and paranoia and lack of trust and betrayal. So how difficult is it to build a revolution? And what happens to the original gangsters as other people get involved?"
Yeah. Does Luthen eventually... eventually Luthen kind of isn't needed so much when you kind of open rebellion, like will eventually happen.
Not to mention his way of doing things, he's at the point where he's been trying to force the Empire's hand.
Yeah.
Make the Empire crack down, make them make things worse, so people see a need to rise. You aren't going to need somebody like that once people see the need.
Yeah, once everybody's actually, again, openly fighting, you don't need to make the Empire
You don't need to sabotage your own people anymore because they get it. There's also the question about Jyn Erso. She tweeted, "I'm afraid to say I won't be in Andor Season 2, but I still have hope for Jyn Erso at some point to make a comeback. But sadly, I won't be."
What kind of comeback does she want?
She probably just means her character being in something again. But what's interesting are there are source books that have notes from the character, and there's a picture of Jyn Erso, and says it with Captain Andor's notes saying, "Confirmed this is Jyn Erso. Subject has also used the aliases of Lyra Fallick, Kestrel Dawn, Tanith Pota, and Nari McVie."
Nanny McPhee?
No. But what's interesting...
I knew there was something fishy about her.
But what's interesting is 3 days leading up to Rogue One. We know in Rogue One that Jyn has already been in jail. She's, been picked up. She's at the Wobani camp, and they free her.
Yeah.
Because they were already hunting her. Because they were looking for Galen Erso. What's to say that sometimes throughout the season, why isn't he? He could be tracking Jyn Erso.
Yeah, well, we know he doesn't succeed, obviously.
No, well, he kind of does. He knows which labor camp, he knows where she is.
But I mean, they don't meet face to face, so it's not like there's going to be some kind of hole in the story because they've met before.
No, they may not meet face to face, but there's nothing saying that maybe he doesn't even see her arrested. He's tracking her, so why not? They could throw in a couple scenes of Jyn doing
they can do some
stuff.
Just
I'm just saying, her by being asked in an interview if she's going to be in it, and her being like, "Nah," makes me think maybe yeah. Because usually don't they
They always say no.
They always say no.
Liam Neeson's like, "Oh, there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi pro. I didn't even know."
Well,
and then he shows up.
My brain goes, well, if Jyn could possibly in there, why not Baze and Chirrut?
Sure.
They worked with Saw in the Partisans for a while before they decided not to work with them anymore. They didn't like the way they went about things. We know Saw's coming back this season. Depending on when in the timeline they show Saw Gerrera, why not? Look, Baze and Chirrut just lounging around the base.
Could be.
There's a lot of could-be's and interesting little tidbits of what they could put in. Heck, if they show Mon Mothma's actual escape, they could show the Ghost Crew. We know that they're recording somewhere. Why not?
Well, we have live-action versions of them as well.
We do, coincidentally.
Haha.
I'm just thinking, there are some definite cameos that they could put in there that could be really cool.
I agree.
As long as, and in Gilroy wouldn't,
yeah.
He wouldn't overdo it. He wouldn't.
No, I don't think he would.
I have a lot of faith in him at this point.
Well, he's delivered the goods.
He has delivered the goods.
So there's a reason to have faith in him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not blind faith at this point. It's proven faith. No, I mean, it would be cool to see Felicity Jones again, just even if it was briefly.
Right,
I mean, they can always CGI her in too. I'm sure they will. If he's tracking her, they'll probably have pictures of her that'll, be in there. They could be taken from Rogue One, though, but...
I mean, I thought it would have been cool if in Season 1 you heard in the background somebody call out to her or something.
Well,
she would have been on Saw's base. I don't remember.
She left when she was like 16, right?
She was left. She didn't choose to leave.
They
left her behind.
Yes.
Because Saw was trying to protect her because, like, people were figuring out who she was and her connection to the Empire. And it's like, for her own good, let's leave her behind.
Her time with Saw is in the book Rebel Rising, for those who want to partake in not one of the best books in the new canon.
Not one of the best books. I read that one.
Yeah. But no, it would be cool. I mean, I hope there are some cool cameos. I don't want it to be cameo fest, obviously, but no. If the connection is there, if it makes sense, put them in there. Why not?
Why not? Give us what we want.
Exactly. All right, well, that is going to be all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you make of Kathleen Kennedy's words here. Does she sound like Gandalf? Or someone else or something else? I don't know. And what do you think about cameos and Jyn Erso being in Andor Season 2? Do you want to see that, or do you not really care? Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.